Oh yeah, it's clicking. There can be several key points of interest here in this rear unit that can make a clicking sound. Sometimes it's easily found, sometimes it's not. Basically, if you disassemble the entire unit, take your wheel off, take your cog off, and you get to the point where just the motor is on there, just say it's the same as if you were changing a belt or changing your bearings. Somewhere along that point, you're going to find the issue. Here's reasons for clicking noise: a bad motor, a loose gear, not enough shims between your cog and your truck, bad bearings in the wheel, bad bearings in your cog, and also a loose lock nut. They're the reasons why I found that you could have clicking in your Evolve electric skateboard. And let's see why mine's clicking. Now, one of the first questions somebody's gonna have, is it the motor? Now, if you have your motor up to your ear and you don't hear the clicking coming from the motor, that's a good sign. I hear my clicking coming from, it sounds like the inside of the hub. Now, it could be this gear here, I don't know yet. We're gonna show you how to eliminate whether or not that it's gonna be that gear. So let me go ahead and take this off. Handy dandy, all-in-one tool here. Now, if you do regular maintenance on your board, how you probably should, this should never become an issue. If you have clicking and you do regular maintenance, it's not a good thing. It's most likely gonna be your motor. Typically, I wouldn't have problems because I maintenance my board a lot. It so happened recently I've used this a lot and I haven't maintenanced it. And this is kind of a factor of doing that. Having a clicking noise like this is going to be a factor if you don't maintenance your board and if you don't do it properly. So I'm paying now, unfortunately, is what's going on. And I'll admit that. It's alright though, because this helped create a video for you guys. We'll go over this. Alright, we took the lock nut off. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to spin this wheel. Okay? And as we spin, you see it's pulling that right off. Take the belt with it and everything. Be very careful. You'll have a speed ring in here or your washer. Put this to the side. We'll take this off. Before you put everything back together, you're going to make sure everything's clean, nice and neat. And if you have your hands on some grease, you're going to want a little tiny bit. I always grease the inside of my speed rings or washer. I know some people call plain washers speed rings. It is what it is. But I like to use a little bit of grease. Cut down on that friction a little tiny bit. You want to hold this part of the motor and try to turn that gear. If you can't turn it like this, and there's no loose play, it's not loose. When you have a loose gear, you know you have a loose gear. So I'm going to say this is alright. While I'm here, I'm going to inspect it. This right here is the original gear from my Evolve Carbon GT. Alright, I know Evolve is now using steel gears. They went with gates. I never had a problem with any of my gears. And I know people have said that they've been recommended to drill this hole out so it accepts a bigger grub screw. I've never had a problem with that either. Everything seems fine. Now check the motor mount bolts. You want to make sure they're tight and everything's good there. Let me just check it real quick. Tight, 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 tight. Now that's not going to contribute, I don't think, to the clicking, but can't hurt to check it while you're there, right? The gear still looks pretty damn good. It works. Now they do get worn out. The edges get worn. And that's what'll cause that belt to start eventually slipping. This gear looks great. I've never had a problem with the gear at all in any which way, shape, or form. Now that my belt's off, take the belt, inspect it. Everything looks great. The inside cog, this is worn a little bit. I've had brand new ones to replace. It looks pretty good. There's no play. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this cog out. I go in from this side, I put it through one of them slots, bang on one side, put it in through a slot on the other, and repeat the process. All right, pop this little fritter out of there. Here's the wheel. Inspect your wheel, but inspect your bearings. Here's what I like to do. First, I like to see if there's any play in them like this. And then I like to put, if you can wrap your fingers around it, spin it like this, or you can put it back on the truck like that, tighten it down, spin it, move it like this, see how it rolls. I use the ABEC 9 bearings. I use the $5 set bearings. Actually, they're not even $5 a set, they're $2.40 a set. That's what I use. They seem to hold up awesome. It is what it is. Alright, so those bearings seem to be fine. Let me check my cog bearing. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. When I put my finger on it like this and turn, I feel that it's very, very loose. It's got side-to-side action, and it's actually making noise when I turn it. Okay, so this time it wasn't my motor, it wasn't my gear, it wasn't my belt, it wasn't my wheel. It was the bearing inside the cog. It was making a clicking noise. Now, it's not completely shot. I've had worse bearings than this. This one's done. This one's done. So what you guys need to do, check the link below and you can find this bearing on eBay. You're only going to pay a few bucks for it. It's not overpriced. Go ahead and replace that bearing. I wish I had a better solution for you. I know there are better solutions out there. Some people have pointed them out to me, but it seems like they go away pretty quick. I can't find them again for sale. It's not a consistent thing. If somebody has a really good link of somebody who's got these bearings for sale consistently and they're not way overpriced, even an upgrade. Some people like the ceramic, some people like the ceramic coated. I just go with the cheapest one. This is my stock original bearing. I have replacements I bought, but I've never used them. I never needed it. I do now though. If it's clicking, I need to replace it. Now, if I did regular maintenance on my board how I'm supposed to be, I would have found this sooner and I would have never had that clicking issue. So keep that in mind, why regular maintenance is so important. Very, very important. When I say regular, just about every time you ride, there should be something that you should do to it to help prevent. If you're not doing it, it doesn't mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean you're horrible, it doesn't mean you don't care about your skateboard. It's just a very, very strong suggestion. And that's a whole nother video because I can get into it about all the different things you can do to help prevent breakdown and failure. There's nothing worse than when you're way out on the road, you're riding, and then you're broken down and you can't get home. I've heard stories of people walking 5 miles. So I always bring my cell phone, and I always have the Lyft app, and I always have the Uber app ready to go. Because I am not walking 5 miles when it breaks down. I'm going to do maintenance on my board. We're not going to have that. Don't do it again. That's it. That's all I got for you guys this time around. I just wanted to address the clicking noise that comes from the Evolve Electric Skateboard. Most likely, your problem's going to fall somewhere within something I was just talking about. And if it doesn't, double check. And if it still doesn't, get back to me. I'll help you walk you through it.